Welcome out to the Epically Geeky Show, episode number 126. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight's opening question is, what is a piece of technology that you received that made you think, wow, I'm living in the future now? We'll start with Chris.
Okay, so the first one I remember, I was 11, and we got an NES.
Okay.
So I thought that was a pretty big deal. And then I remember at 13 getting a Walkman, which was like, whoa.
Nice.
And then at 16, that's when we got our first computer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started, that's when I discovered time wasting. And got on chat and stuff. And that's when I learned
beginning of the end.
I could really waste some serious hours doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Jennifer, what about you?
Well, I mean, the internet and GPS are the obvious, like, life changers, right? Like, we didn't even see that coming. That was, like, something that happened over the course of time. We didn't have it, so we knew life without it. So it was kind of, like, gradual, I guess, the effects of it. So when I think of something that's like, wow, this is amazing, like, mine is kind of boring in comparison, but, like, timers on lights and my lights outside and like the water timers that I use now that I've started to garden, to me that's just like the biggest life hack ever, because I don't have to think about it. I can just put it on a timer and leave, and then the only thing I do have to manage is like if it rains I turn it off. But yeah, to me that's like an incredible, oh my god, this makes my life so much easier, thank you whoever invented it. So kind of lame, but that's my thing.
No, I completely understand.
And Bluetooth is pretty cool too, I'll say.
Oh, yes.
When I got a car with Bluetooth, I was like, wow, I can hear everything.
Oh my god, it
my
makes
speakers.
so much difference.
Yeah, it's great.
Makes so much difference. Yeah, like I would actually have to go back to like what you were saying about getting on the internet like at first and like chatting with people, and that was pretty mind blowing.
ASL.
My first okay, I've got a funny story about that. So my former partner at my work, we would like she would go out and be working on things and I'd be out working on things, and I always wanted to like, just have a quick, easy way of messaging her, basically asking where you're at. And I was like, well, we really can't use ASL because I obviously know, the first two, I'm only needing to know the L. So we came up with our own thing, and it was, it was something like LOC, and it was location, what's occupying you right now, like what project you're currently working on, and the chocolate stress level. So it was LOC, like, I'd be off in a lab doing something and I'd just text her, be like LOC, and she'd write back, in the office working on, a spreadsheet or whatever, chocolate level 2. So because once we hit like a 4, it was like, okay, I need to go do a vending machine and I need to come rescue my partner. So
I like that.
But the first thing that popped in my mind when I came up with this question was probably my iPhone. Like, I was one of those people that when I first saw the iPhone, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. I don't ever see really needing this thing. Like, I had a Razor, and I'm just like, no, I don't really need one of these phones. And then my wife really wanted to get one, and I was like, well, you can't have one if I'm not gonna have one. And then I got one, and now I can't imagine life without it. It's just like, yeah. So, and we're holding on a little bit longer before we upgrade. But of course, you talk to the grandparents, talk to people, and they're like, well, it works fine right now. Why are you getting a new one? I'm like, well, the longer I hold on to it, the less it's worth. And I said, but I'm like, keep in mind, I'm not upgrading my phone. I'm upgrading my phone, my camcorder, my camera, the computer I use to use email for work, for home. This is how I keep up with my friends. Like, it's not just a phone. Like, I use it for so much more.
To call it a phone is a misnomer now. Like, we barely use the phone feature on our phones anymore.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's just what it started out as, and then we added all these things. It's really a microcomputer like you carry in your pocket, like you said.
Yeah.
It's a GPS, a camera, a
absolutely.
reference
Yeah, the
source,
GPS. You're right.
messaging machine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, and yeah, like once you start figuring all those other things in, it's like the cost, even though it is still high, it's still like, yeah, but it kind of makes sense. You're actually upgrading a lot of things all at once. So, but this is tonight's actual topic is something that Jennifer came up with. So, where most of the people on this site are pretty hip to what's going on, and I probably just dated myself really bad by saying that. But there are some things that we kind of hold on to the old ways, as it were. So that's what we're going to discuss tonight is what old school things do you still do or hold on to or prefer, even though there is clearly a more either technologically advanced way of doing it, or in some cases just flat out a better way of doing it, and you're just like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I like doing it this way, and that's just me. I'm just gonna have.
I have
keep
so
with that,
many. I have so many,
Okay,
you guys.
I only have 2 or 3, but I have a feeling as you're going through your list, I may
You're gonna
be
think of
like,
more.
yeah, I still do that too. So, well, with that said, would you like to go first, Jen?
Sure. I'll start
All right.
with the thing that prompted this idea because I don't remember if it was in one of our group chats or what, but you guys made fun of me for this because I still use a paper checkbook to balance my
Oh.
checkbook. Like, I just need to physically see it and write it down and know as it comes out. Get my online statement and I'll still write it down to reconcile it.
Mhm.
And I also track all of my expenses in it, and I like keep track of how much I owe on every account, and I'll erase it and rewrite it and I'll look it up. And I know that there are apps to do this because Barb and other people have told me like they use them and they are so easy and this and that. You just have to set it up, but I still just like using a checkbook, which doesn't make sense, right? Because it's not very green because you're using paper.
True.
But anyways, that's how my mind works. I gotta write it.
Okay,
So.
I am at least a couple of steps up from you, but I'm definitely not cutting edge on this. I still use, I mean, I've actually converted it to, well, no, I guess it is still a spreadsheet, but I use a spreadsheet for this, and I literally have.
It does not surprise me.
I literally have it set up so that, like, and whenever I get the statement, usually I have 2 windows up. I've got, my online bank account here, and then I've got my spreadsheet, and I copy everything over into it. And but I'm able to, like, I've got multiple tabs, so I know how much my bills are, so I can go back and track over the months and even over the years how things have fluctuated. I've got what the current balance is on certain pages, but then I've also got one that's set up by week, and I can forecast my budget for the rest of the month. So, like, Christy.
So you've
hates...
created like formulas within this to
God,
do all
yes.
this shit.
Oh yes, I've got formulas. And
So
stuff.
nerdy.
Yes. So like, I'll text Christy and I'll be like, well, just did the bills. We have, if we set aside this much for groceries, paying all of our bills and setting aside groceries, we have X amount till the end of the month. Like, but I like knowing that because there's nothing worse than getting to the end of, that last week and being like, so pork and beans. So, because we're teachers.
That's kind of what I do is like, I'll look at what I got paid and I know, I'm going to be paying this much in bills, and then I'll subtract all that out and anything else I know is coming up. And then I'm like, okay, I have this much for food and fun for the rest of the month or whatever. But yeah, but you're essentially doing what I'm doing. If you're having to manually input it, you're just doing it.
And I am manually inputting it. I am doing it line by line. So whereas unless we've had just like a lot of little things or it just kind of exceeds it and I kind of have to all stuff it in one thing, like I can pretty much tell you where almost every penny I've spent over the last almost decade now. At least. So yeah, not that it's helped me save any money or really pay anything off, but at least I know where it went. One other quick funny story about this. So when Christy and I first were getting together and was like, okay, so we're getting married, how do we want to handle the budget? Do you want to do it like you have your own account and I have my own account, and like you pay these bills and I pay these bills, or do we want to just have one account? And we decided it would be easier just to have one account. And so I'm like, okay, well, I need to get your, can I look at your bank, your checkbook, and so I can start figuring out and assimilating it into one thing. And she hands me her checkbook, and I start looking at it and go, "You're like $300 in the hole." And she goes, "No, no, no, no. There's money in the back." And I'm like, "What do you mean in the back?" She had two running things. She had a running list in the front, and then she had money that she had hidden from herself that she was using for other things, and it was accounted for in the back. She knew where her money was, but I just looked at it and I'm just like, okay,
I can't do this.
I'm doing the bills. Like I am assuming that job in the
funny.
marriage, I'm the bill guy now. So, and every so often,
it's the woman that does that.
Yeah, and every so often she's like, "Do you want me to do the bills?" And I immediately think of that, and it's just like, "No, you are not allowed. I have come up with too good a system."
No, honey, I got it.
Yeah. So, but no, I can kind of understand that, but yeah, because what I said was I am a couple of steps up in that at least I'm using it on a computer, but you're right. I know there are apps and services out there that would just be like, no, you put all your account information in, and we'll tell you everything that I've been doing myself, but I prefer doing it myself.
You just know how it works.
Yep. So, not like a good old spreadsheet.
What do you do, Chris?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in charge of the money. Ray is, and I don't know how he does it. I just know I can put gas in the car and buy groceries. That's basically all I know. And I know he doesn't spreadsheet anything. So it's
does he keep it in the checkbook, or does he just?
No, it doesn't do anything. It's all
okay.
Up in here. He's terrible for writing things down or anything like that. He's just awful.
He just kind of knows.
He knows. Yeah, he's just one of those guys. So what I do is, I still read paper books, and I prefer them over like a Kindle or an e-reader. I don't know. I just never thought the e-reader was appealing. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You can hold like 10,000 books, and that's all amazing. But something about holding a book and turning the pages and like seeing how much is left to read or how much you've read, and
that's my thing.
Yeah, the smell of the paper,
feel of it, and this you can see like where the bookmark moves.
Yeah, I fold my pages down like I do dog. So
like a monster.
Yeah, like total terrible person. But I like paper books, and I don't think I like the covers. I like the way they look on our shelf. And I don't see us ever not having books in the house. Because I also think it's great for the kids to see all those books too, and for them to, I don't know. Because I never did. There was never a book in my house growing up, ever. My mom would read like a Harlequin romance in the summer for like a day and then throw it out. So there was never any books anywhere. But so the kids can see books and see that we read. And I don't know. They're both kind of nerdy readers now.
That's good.
Yeah.
I was very resistant to the ebook, movement. And I have downloaded a few when they've had sales or they're, online to an e-reader, but I do prefer paper book if I'm going to read versus listen.
Yeah.
There is something about a book. It's just magical.
I like them.
Y'all know me. I am totally team audiobook, but
yeah, he doesn't read.
If I am reading something, like, I even bought Christy a Kindle a couple of years ago, and I think it's still sitting in her nightstand, and it's dead because she kind of got away from reading in the evening like she was doing, but I don't think it just grabbed her like she was hoping it was going to. And I even looked at it, and I'm like, I mean, it's a cool device, but I'm like, I don't see myself sitting down and reading on this thing. Like I said, I'm not a big reader in that way, but yeah, I would opt for a paper copy of the book too. So
my friend gave me her old, I guess she upgraded her old Nook and gave it to me. And I was like, this is going to be my reading device. I'm going to put Audible on it. There's a couple other audio apps I was using, and then like Kindle books and, whatever I used to read. And I only put like 4 or 5 of those apps on there, and I swear to God, it was full within like, I had to delete everything but like Audible because it's only got like 16 gigs on it, and everything was that I said to put on the SD card either wasn't able to go on there, it wasn't working. So yeah, it was pointless. It's like I got this cool device and I can only run one app on it because there's not enough space.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
it's stupid. They're not efficient.
The first thing on my list also has to do with paper. I have Christy gets onto me about this all the time. She makes fun of me constantly about this. The Reminders app is actually pretty decent. This last version of the update on iOS is actually pretty decent. But I have reminders set for myself all the time. And of course, she's like, "Whoa, you have one on there to remind yourself to wipe your ass." And I'm just like, "Really? I'm not really. It's not that bad." But because I mean, like, yes, I have a reminder on there on Thursday night, roll out the trash can, because everyone has those weeks. It's you look up and you're just like, oh shit, it's already Wednesday. Where has the week gone? And especially like if we're off, the days just kind of like blend together. So I use the reminders app constantly, and I will set up reminders and things that I need to do. That being said, I still will, like, when I get to work, I will still take a sticky note and write down everything I need to get done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And there's just something, I mean, yes, I like putting, hitting the little check mark on my phone saying that I've gotten stuff done and then it disappears. But there's something about either taking your pen and putting a check mark next to it, or like you said, lining it out and
crossing it out.
And getting
It's
it done.
the most satisfying feeling ever to cross something off your list.
Yes, and I feel bad because I'm like, I could clearly sit down and type this up in my phone and it wouldn't, I'm not throwing away. I mean, granted, I'm throwing away a piece of paper that's this big. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, it's so much easier to just look down, like as you're typing, just glance down half a second and be like, I'm halfway through all my shit today. This is pretty good. I'm making some progress. So
do you ever do something that wasn't on your list and then write it on your list just so you could cross it off and see more progress?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I do that.
I do that.
I do that all the time at work. I'm like, ooh, that was a good one. I'm writing because you feel like you didn't do anything that day if you don't actually see the,
Okay. Have either one of you read? Oh cripes! What is his name? Hold on, I've got to look this up because it's actually really really good. He used to do MythBusters. Adam Savage. Have either one of y'all read Adam Savage's Every Tool is a Hammer?
No.
No, but I heard about it on another podcast.
It is a fantastic book, and one of the things that he learned to do is he is a very meticulous list maker, and he picked this up from someone else. So when you're making the list, basically you put like a box next to it, you draw a little box next to it, and that allows you to do things like whenever the item is complete, you fill in the box completely. If it's like made some progress, you I think it's a check mark, or you fill in half the box or whatever. And it's a fantastic system. And I was just like, I need to go back and re-listen to it again. And I need to see it like done and really learn how to do it, because I'm like, this is a really good idea. This was clearly someone came up with this, and he's like, he picked it up and he runs with it. And I'm just like, cause he's like, I always have a pad with me to make list on list on list. Mm-hmm. So, that would probably actually be a good book to read for the book club. Like it's fantastic. Him talking about some of his methods, to his madness. So, but so I still use sticky notes for a to-do list, even though I could very easily just type it up in my phone. It's just like, nope, I'm going to write this down. So, all right, Jennifer, what's another one you got?
Well, since we're talking about paper, I still write letters to people. I am actually a ardent pen pal. I have at any given time, I probably have 5 or 6 people I write regularly. Really? But then I have family members I'll send cards to, or people I'll send postcards to occasionally that I just want to say hi to. But I have 5 or 6 that actually write me back on a regular basis. So I started 4 or 5 years ago, because I started having so many people. I actually will write down, I have a notebook to write down the date that I, when I write letters, who I wrote, and then that way I can look back and say, oh, so and so hasn't written me back. I'll send them a quick reminder, or I know, like, if I need to write someone that has written me, blah blah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just think it's like a great way to keep in touch with people. It's a lost art, and I've, as you guys know, I send Christmas cards every year, but I also just write people all the time throughout the year, and it's kind of a costly habit because stamps are like 55 fucking cents now.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
And,
ridiculous.
But I don't know.
That's what got me to start paying all my bills online.
Oh, yeah.
When I figured out that I was spending like $10 to $15 every month just in postage, it was like, nope, I'm doing this on the computer now. So
Well, plus having it be able to e-draft is so
yeah,
easy. You
that's
don't even have to do it.
yeah,
That was the other thing. I was like, yeah, we're gonna go
go that route.
electronic
So,
that way.
but that's interesting. So let me ask you this. Do you find, granted, if you are still writing, probably not, but I don't write, I don't like, I do short things, like I said, small lists and stuff like that. I don't do long form writing anymore. And I've learned if I get to about a half a page of writing, my hand starts to cramp up. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing?
My hand still does cramp, especially because I'll wait until I have like 2 or 3 people to write and then do it all at once. So by the end of it, my hand's like, I just have to take breaks. But I mean, I think if I did it more, like every day, it would be better. But yeah, the stamina's not there where it used to be for sure.
Yeah, I can see that. So, all right, what's another thing you got for us, Chris?
You yawned, I yawned. So I also have to write lists. I have Post-it notes at work, and I write lists here. Any scrap of paper I can get a hold of, I'll start writing lists on. I've tried doing it on my phone in the little notes function.
Mm-hmm.
I forget to look at my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just easier if I have that. So with that, I also use paper calendars. I have tried so hard to use the calendar function on my phone because it does send you those little alerts. I can't do it. I can't do it. My sister-in-law is like an avid Apple user. And when she was with former partner of hers, he was a big tech geek, and he got her all synced up with their calendars and so she's just never stopped. That was a long time ago. So she's just gotten in the habit of doing that. She's like, I don't know how you can write on a paper calendar. I'm like, I don't know how you don't look at your phone. Like, how is that still, like, I can't. So I have a paper calendar. I write everything on it, everything. So if Ray has questions, like, it's on calendar. Or if you've got something that comes up or anything, I'm like, put it on the calendar. And then what I do now, because I make schedule at work, is I'll take a picture of my calendar here, and then I'll write it down at work. Even at work,
Lord.
I have 2 whiteboards that I make the schedule on, 2 months, and it's all on there in my whiteboard. And yeah, just in case things have to change or whatever, but I have to write it down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I forget.
The paper okay, so paper calendar. Yeah, there's a paper calendar in my office, and it's just because someone gave my partner a Star Wars calendar, and literally it's his calendar, but I'm the one that always walks by and goes, oh yeah, it's the next month. You gotta change the picture. So, oh look, it's Palpatine. Okay.
Yeah.
But I finally got Christy several years ago. I finally got Christy onto using the calendar on her phone.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to get her to sync up to do a family calendar, like a family Google calendar that we can both have access to and share, because it's like, okay, well, here's the boys' soccer schedule. And I'm like, you realize that I could just put this in my calendar and just share it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have to do it, or you could do it and it would be shared to me and we would know. But instead, we're still putting it in separately on our phone. I can't get her to do it.
Can't you see her calendar? Like, can't you select
No.
to see each other's?
You can, but she has no interest in doing it. And I'm just like, come on. So, because I mean, now I've got a calendar for personal stuff. I've got a calendar for Ghostbuster stuff, and I've got a calendar for work. And I've kept a calendar for like stuff for the site and everything, but as little bit as I needed, I was like, no, I'll just put it on the personal calendar. It's fine.
So I was very resistant to making the switch up until a few years ago because I would carry a little planner in my purse and I had a very specific like type of planner I liked using. It had to have a spiral in it and had to be so big and blah blah blah. And I finally switched because I had to use an electronic calendar for work because everybody sends you, invites that way.
Yeah.
And I also, had my personal calendar, so it was hard to like, see what was when I was making plans if I had something. And finally I just like linked up my Google Calendar to my phone and then I put everything and now so I'll show you a sample of my.
Oh, I've seen it. It's ridiculous.
It's color coded. So like red is for work and purple is for personal, and then I can also turn on my coworkers' calendars because we all share everything too. But it's like a lot of it's just reminders of like recurring events. Like I work out at this time twice a week and I leave the office at this time. But yeah, now I don't know how I would function without it because like I have to look at my calendar before I schedule anything just to see, and it's right there on my phone. So.
Chris, she handed me her phone one time to show me her calendar. It looks like a patchwork quilt. It's ridiculous. I've never seen anything this crazy. So
it's my life. If I lost that, it'd be.
And you're a very busy lady. I am, however, not very busy. I don't have much of a outside life. Only recently since I started working, and I only work part-time. So yeah, everything still has to go on the calendar. Everything. And I'll take a picture of it if I think I might need it, or I'll just say, well, let me just check the calendar and I'll get back to you or whatever. But yeah, I still can't for whatever reason. It's almost as if it's like, I don't know, it's like a Luddite thing. It's like, but what if the phone stops working and then I don't know what's going on? If I have to pay the calendar, unless the house burns down, it'll be there.
I understand, and that's actually one of the reasons. Like, I understand about being on the phone, but like, I use Google for all that stuff. So like, oftentimes it's like, well, yeah, my phone is in my hand, and I could look it up that way. Yeah. Or I could just pull up a tab on Google and look it up, and now it's nice big. It's nice and big and more exploded out, and I'm just like, yeah. So I mean,
I always have my calendar tab open.
The only reason I don't all the time is just because it slows my old ass computer at work down. Like because the way Google Chrome works, one of the reasons why Chrome is different from the other browsers is that every tab you have open is an instance of that program running. So if one tab crashes, it doesn't crash the entire program. Whereas like with Firefox, if one tab crashes, it takes the whole program down, which is nice, and yet you've got multiple instances of the program running. So if you're running a slow ass old computer, the more tabs you have open, the slower it runs.
You tell me this now that I've been struggling on this piece of shit laptop for how long? Like, stop using Chrome, Jennifer.
No, keep using Chrome. Just keep your tabs, limited.
Well, sometimes I get out of control with my tabs.
Oh, see, I'm very stringent about. Okay, well, something else that I'm also very stringent about is like if I am not currently using a program, I shut it down on my phone. Like I shut all my apps down.
Yeah,
Christy will purposely walk over to me and double tap her home button and just show me her phone, and I'm literally taking it's just like shutting down all the damn programs, and I'm just like, why do you have them all open? No, if there is a way to do it, I don't know, and I don't think there is, but I'm just like, why are you still running this?
On Droids, you can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Close
all, and they all go away.
So, speaking of phones, that's actually my next thing on there. So, it's not. I don't have the. I have an iPhone 8 Plus. So it's one or two generations behind, but it's still really fast. It's still got a decent battery on it and everything. And I am running the newest version of the operating system. And the only time I ever use Siri is to ask what the weather is and to set a timer for whatever.
Me too.
That's all I use it for.
Well, I don't use Siri, but I use Google.
You use Google, but it's the same thing. It's like Siri. Hey Siri, did it set a timer for 30 minutes? And that's all I use it for. My brother and all these other people I know, and it drives me crazy with my brother though. But like, they use it to just, they ask Siri to do everything, or they'll, they constantly, when they text stuff, they, you know, right, they speak it out and it does it. And I'm just like, I don't know if it always gets it wrong for me. Like I always have to go back and re-edit a couple of words here and there, or I don't know if it's just the way that I talk, but like I'll get halfway through it and I'll just pause and I'll be like, what's the next word I want to use? And then I could probably work with myself and start using it more, but I have no interest in doing it. Like, so if you get a text message from me, and it's wrong, it's because I either fat fingered it or it auto corrected it wrong. I very, very, very rarely use text to speech, and I don't know, it doesn't work for me. I know it's there, but I never think about it. It's like, oh, I need to send a text, pick it up, start typing it out. So
yeah, that was one of mine. Was I have a Droid, of course, so we have OK Google, and the few times she's probably gonna like turn on. Yeah, see, she's fucking turned on. But the very few times I've tried to use it for anything other than the weather or a timer, she 90% of the time can't do what I ask or doesn't understand me. And I get so fucking mad that I'm like, I'm ready to throw the phone, like open this app or, check or send a text message. Like it'll tell me, oh, well, you need to unlock your phone for that. And I'm like, then what's the fucking point of me having you to do things if I have to put my fingerprint on there or put in a number? Like, no. And then, like I said, she just doesn't understand. When I do voice to text, the few times I do, yeah, there's always mistakes, even if I enunciate very carefully. And also, I have the same issue of like, I don't think it as quickly when I'm saying it as I can when I'm typing. So sometimes I'll be like, how do I want to say this? No, I want to reword it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's easier. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, now the one time I will use it is if I'm having a brain fart and I just absolutely, because I'm a horrible speller. If I just absolutely can't remember how to spell something or figure out how to spell something, I will try it that way. But most of the time I'm just like, all right, what's the dumb version of the word I'm trying to use? And I'll just use it.
I'll sometimes Google a word to figure out how to spell it.
I will do that all the time too.
I do that.
But the other thing, and this is maybe my car more than my phone, is I'll, when I'm driving, I'll say call so-and-so, and half the time it never gets the name right. And I get so mad because it's like, okay, would you like to call Eugene Stevens? And I'm like trying to call, Chris Andrew. And I'm like, no, just as an example, I'm like, no, that's not, I don't understand why you thought that was what I said. It's nothing.
Not even remotely close. Yep.
Yeah. So stupid. Anyway.
Well, how do you have your contacts set up? Like I have all of it like first name, last name. Everyone has first name, last. Okay. So I found that tends to help, but that's not always the case. So.
Yeah.
So, all right, what's your next one?
Well, I guess, yeah, this is sort of similar to what we were just talking about, but I don't have any smart objects in my house other than my phone, which is a smartphone. I have nothing hooked up to Wi-Fi. I have no, like, my lights inside my house aren't set to come on and off at a certain time. I don't have an Alexa or a Google Home or anything like that. Like, I do everything myself, and I just do it the way I've always done it. And I don't understand sometimes the need for people to have everything hooked up. And also, like, there's so many security issues with it. And I have so many issues with technology. I just think it's better to not tempt fate, as you know.
But you, I would say yes. That's probably a good idea.
But, yeah, like, no smart objects at all. Everything's just manual or old-fashioned.
I'm in the same boat. There are, number one, I'm a cheap ass. I'll be very honest with you. I'm a cheap ass, and I don't want to spend the money to do some of the smart home stuff because I'm just like, man, it's really not that hard for me to walk over and just hit the flip the switch myself. I don't really want to pay another $100 just so I can do it automatically. There are some things I would like to do. The security thing is definitely a major concern. But like now I would like to maybe one day have it so I could like walk in or whatever and just be like night mode, and like the blinds would close and like maybe some of the lights would go off or they would kind of dim or whatever. And that's really about it. I don't need my refrigerator to fucking text me that I need milk. Like I'm good. I don't really need that.
That's creepy.
Yeah. So I'm in the same boat with you on that one. So what about you? I have a feeling the answer is obviously no. There's no super automated technology going on up there in Canada.
That whole Alexa thing, Google Home, it being so automated, I don't know if I've seen too many sci-fi movies, but it creeps me out. It actually creeps me out.
Mhm.
Also, what if it breaks? Then I can't turn my fucking lights on.
Yeah.
Or there's things like that. It's like technology
Yeah.
breaks. It's not a
Yeah.
for sure thing. It's not this thing that's going to last forever. It's not a perpetual motion machine. So it would be nice to just have things that you have to do manually. And I don't think I've never been drawn to that. Any, like news broadcasts were like, we're going to show you the newest smart home and blah, blah, blah. All of that's like, yeah, but what if AI rises up and now you're shutting your home?
Right. Plus, like you said, knowing things break. Like, yeah, things break, and also I know myself, and I will probably break them and do something. So I am just not messing with it.
Yeah, I don't like technology that much. I understand its purpose and it's done wonderful things, but sometimes it's just like, yeah, but did we really need that?
I just don't have the patience to set a lot of it up.
That too, I don't care.
The hassle of that.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. But I'll make fun of my sister for a second. She still has a VCR that she still uses and buys VHSs. There you go.
I don't buy it anyway.
I was gonna say it's one thing to still own it. It's different if you're still buying.
Oh, she still uses it because she gets really cheap videotapes from thrift stores and stuff. So two of her boys are going through a big Care Bear phase right now. You can't find any of that stuff, so she'll scour thrift stores, and if she finds a Care Bear VHS for like $3, she's like, yes, please.
There you go.
Still work.
I will say if I see one that I don't have, occasionally I'll buy it, but I don't go looking for them. But knock on wood, it still works. I have a bunch of them. So
she had a DVD VCR one for a while too, which I thought was fun.
Yeah. Yes. Again, though, if that breaks, we're both screwed, me and your sister.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and her boys will be upset. Yeah.
That's funny.
That is funny. Just to point out, like I said, I don't really have any interest in, doing all the home automation, but I am totally team self-driving car. Just saying.
Ray is the exact opposite.
I know. Well, Ray also likes driving. Like
he does. He enjoys it. Yeah.
For me, it's like, it's not bad. I will say I'm really liking my Flex. But even then, it's like, on the trip when we were driving down to San Antonio yesterday to do this parade, it was like, it would have been nice if I could have just like zoned out a little bit and had a more in-depth conversation instead of having to, make sure I've got, both hands on the wheel because traffic's getting stupid on 35. But
the thing about self-driving cars, though, is they only work if everybody's in one, right?
Yeah,
like, they have to be able to talk to each other. And also there's the whole like ethical issues of, the lady in the road or the baby in the road or whatever.
Yes.
Like, you got to figure that stuff out first. I don't know how they're going to do that. But
well, I mean, that's one of those things. It is gonna have to be pre-programmed, but it's like, and one of the arguments I've heard about that is like, well, who do you think is gonna make a decision on that quicker, you or the car? And I'm like, yeah, that's true.
The car.
Yeah. So you probably have a better chance of it coming out to be a decent, the multiple milliseconds it's taking you to figure out, okay, do I need to do this? The car's like, nope, this is what we're doing. So for better or worse. Going back to my phone, I do have, I like being able to send money to people digitally now. I don't carry cash. I don't. I really don't. Like every so often I'll have cash on me, but not very often. And I like being able to do, oh, hey, can I PayPal you, or can I Venmo, or
Zelle,
one of the
or
yeah. And Apple Pay is also in there as well. I have yet to use my phone to Apple Pay for something like at a business. It just,
me either.
Like if I do it through an app, that's one thing. But like, you see these commercials where people walk up and they just like touch their phone to it and pay.
That freaks me out.
I've never done that before.
I don't like that at all. What if somebody grabs your phone and they're just fucking tapping everything?
Well, the thing is though, is to do it, it has to scan your fingerprint first. So
what about those tap credit cards, those tap debit cards.
Okay, now that
Just like,
shit is
oh,
crazy.
yes, because all they have to do is just boop.
Yeah, if it's I see. I don't
That's
trust.
it.
I trust my phone because it has to, I have to put my fingerprint on
Authenticate,
there,
yeah.
and it's actually really really sophisticated technology for that. But yeah, just a card itself, no, 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 no. Yeah, that shit sounds crazy to me. So, and I keep forgetting. Sometimes I still do forget it. I'm just like, my brother will like buy lunch, or someone will buy something. I'll just be like, when I get some cash, I'll pay you back. And they're like, well, just and then you go through the dance. So, well, what do you have? Well, I have this, and you have that, and
Yeah.
what? Yeah. So
I just have them all: Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, and I think you can even send money on Facebook now. It's like.
And see, that's the
super
one
easy.
I refuse to do. I will not do it. through
Super
Facebook.
easy though. Like it's
I'm
literally
sure it
just your
is.
credit card or your debit
sure
card.
It is. So, yeah, they've got enough on me. So, but oddly enough, like if it was Amazon, I'd be like, yeah, sure, no problem. So, because I buy fucking everything through Amazon. Like, everyone's always like, oh, your phone's, watching you. And Google's got all this information. I'm like, fucking Amazon knows more about me than anyone else.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it because all they're using it for is, hey, you keep buying this brand of this. Maybe you would like this one. You know what? You're right, Amazon. Thanks.
Thanks for knowing me better than I know myself.
Exactly.
So on the subject of money, do you guys still use checks? Ever?
Not anymore.
I don't even own checks. And in fact, the
We don't
rare times that I have to have one, it's a hassle. They're like, no, we need a canceled check. I'm like, do I really have to go to the bank and go get a check just so that you can do this for whatever? And yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't. Like, Ray does all the e-transfer stuff, and yeah, we haven't. I don't think we ran out of checks maybe like a year, 2 years ago. And we just haven't gotten any more. And then Logan was doing fundraising for her grad trip, and people were because we had to have the money in by a certain time. They would just e-transfer Ray the money, and he'd pull it out of the bank account so that we could have the cash to the fundraising committee. But yeah.
I still have a checkbook and I carry it with me, or a check, like actual checks. And it's very rare that I need one, but sometimes it comes in handy. Like if the person doesn't do, like my neighbor did a lot of work for me recently and doesn't speak great English, and getting the whole app thing set up, and it was like a lot of money, so I wasn't going to just get cash out. So I wrote him a check for that. So sometimes it comes in clutch, but yeah, I still do.
That reminds me, I still have to come by your house and look at your garbage disposal, don't I?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that after the show.
That's why she was asking. So what do you have going on
topics.
this week?
Well, I thought about that after you said. You didn't set a reminder for that, Eugene? Jeez.
No, actually, you know what? I didn't, just because I was like, I knew there was something else, and I kept thinking, what is it? And I was like, oh yeah, that's what it is. So
this is what happens when you don't send reminders.
No shit. Like, yeah. You know what? I may have a reminder, and it just hasn't triggered yet. So, we'll see. Do you have anything else you want to bring up, Jen?
Like for the whole show, or just?
Yeah.
In general. I mean, I have on here. Let's see. I don't have a doorbell. I don't know, and just didn't. My house didn't come with one, and I never put one in. And a lot of people have those like video doorbells now. Like you guys have that, right? Where it rings to your phone. Oh, I thought you did. You get an app, or you get a notification to your phone.
My mom has that, and I have to say, like, okay, the main reason she got it is she's had multiple packages stolen off of her front porch, and she actually she got a ring system, and it actually helped the police find this guy and like finally getting caught or whatever. Knock on wood, Christy and I have never had anything stolen off of our front porch. Like, people will ask, can I send stuff to your house? Because they know it's not gonna. I've had a fucking like 50-inch television delivered on my front step, and it's just sitting out there, and no one's ever touched it. So like, yeah, I've never had an issue with it. So, and I told Christy, I'm like, well, maybe if we start having an issue, or maybe in the next house, down the line, it will probably be built in. Who knows? We'd look at doing something like that. But I'm like, otherwise, I'm like, I don't really care, because now that Amazon delivers almost everything, themselves. Like, I get a message on my phone saying we've delivered whatever, and there's literally a picture that the person's taken with their phone to show me, hey, I delivered it. It's there. So.
Or you get a text from someone saying, hey, did Amazon just come to your house? Like creepy. creepily.
Yeah, like this creepy woman I know.
I did that the other day. I was at a friend's house and I saw the Amazon truck stop and I was like, hey, I saw Amazon stop by. Let's see. The other thing I had, this isn't necessarily in my house, but I was having this conversation with someone the other day. I don't use like curbside grocery pickup or anything like that. A lot of people do that now. It's a big thing, but to me, it's more time consuming to shop online than just going in and grabbing what I need and finding it. And also it's very wasteful. Like they use all the plastic bags that I don't want used. And I know you can supposedly tell them not to, but I've had bad experiences with restaurants still putting straws and, you know, all the extra stuff that I don't want. So I just kind of would rather just go in. Plus it costs extra and I'm not paying someone extra just to get the things I could get myself.
Well, okay, it depends on who you're using. It doesn't cost extra with Walmart.
Oh, I thought HEB like charged a fee.
Now HEB may charge a fee, but Walmart doesn't charge anything. And in fact, you know, when we first started using the service, it was like, you know, do I tip you? And they're like, no, we are not allowed to take tips. So I'm like, okay. That's why whenever I do go do the service, do the service, Christy now. You would think a favorites list would be just your favorite items. I don't understand how a favorites list can have 250 fucking items in it, but
she did that or they do that?
She did that. And every so often I'll go weed it out, and I'm just like, you know, just because they didn't have this version of this, you didn't have to favorite the other version. Like, just whatever. Anyway, but usually it takes Christy and I about a half hour to do, you know, to figure out the grocery list, and then I go pick it up, and it takes, you know, maybe half hour to undo the stuff or whatever. So, and I've talked to them, and they're like, yes, if you want to use less bags, or if you don't want any bags at all, they're like, we will just put a note on there, and we will put everything in just the big containers, and when we wheel it out, then we can put it in your recycled bags or whatever when you get there. So they're like, it will take more time when you go pick it up, but whatever. So
yeah. Well, that said, I do use like sometimes online ordering where you go in and pick it up at the store for certain stores, like, you know, Lowe's or Office Depot or whatever. That's
something I need to start doing more. I will go to Lowe's. Of course, I kind of like looking around Lowe's, but I need to start doing that so I can just be like, nope, I just need these fucking screws. Just bring them to the front.
Well, yeah, and it's, to me, it's easier in stores like that where I'm like overwhelmed or I just don't want to deal with it. But again, like a lot of those do use a lot of extra packaging that's very unnecessary. So I'm like, shouldn't be doing this as much. But anyways, because that was another thing.
I always wished like Walmart would start doing, like, I would pay extra if they would be like, hey, listen, we're gonna sell you 25 of the the recyclable, reusable bags or whatever. And whenever I put in my order, y'all use 25 of them, and so when I come to pick them up, I will hand you 25 of them, and I'll take the 25 bags.
Oh, like swap out.
And we'll just keep swapping out, and things will be great. And unfortunately, they don't have anything like that. I have a feeling they may end up start doing something like that, especially
like a deposit kind of system.
Yeah, and like I said, I would pay extra for that. That would be great.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
because you can tend to get a shit ton of stuff in each one of those bags, and like, you're carrying 5 bags in instead of like 15, 25.
And then you're like, I can carry them all on your arms.
I'm not that guy. I'm getting steps in today because so
5 trips to the car.
That's right.
The only other thing I had was my dishwasher broke like the first year I was in this house, and I never fixed it, so I just wash all my dishes by hand. Which can suck a lot of times. And yeah, I have a shitty old laptop, if that counts as something I need to upgrade and, get better. I have a Sony Vaio, for those of you who know anything. And it has a little sticker that says, not just for gaming anymore, 4 gigs of RAM lets you listen to music, surf the web, and get your work done all at once. So...
What does it have the sticker as to what version of Windows came on it?
Behind the times. No, but
okay.
Oh wait, Windows Vista. But it's been upgraded. That has been upgraded. Maybe that's why it's so slow.
But still.
Yeah, it came with Vista.
Vista. Oh my god.
And it's a Blu-ray player, but not a CD player or DVD player. I don't understand. Anyways.
What about you, Chris? Do you have anything else?
I have. We just don't have a washing machine. We didn't have any room for it, so we wash dishes. And I grew up without a dishwasher, so it's not really that big of a deal. And now the kids.
And now they are.
And then our dryer broke about 3 years ago. It still tumbles and everything, just doesn't heat anything anymore. Just a lot of cold air coming at you. So we just hang our clothes up to dry. We have 2 big drying racks, and in the wintertime when the wood stove's going on, it dries
space.
So the next day it's all dry, and in the summertime or when it's nice out, it goes outside. And I have a clothesline, but we have attached to 2 trees, and if wind takes it too much, it's snapped like 3 times last summer.
But this is a very common thing in the environmental movement too, is just like hang your clothes because it's more eco-friendly.
Well,
so
it makes your clothes last longer too. So drying plus a dryer is the equivalent of running your stove, your fridge, and in an air conditioner or something like that all at once. That's the energy equivalent of
it's a lot of energy.
So it's a lot. So the kids Logan thinks it sucks, but it's like, well, it's been 3 years, so clearly you're fine.
You can survive.
We'll be okay. And
Eugene has some feelings on this topic.
Are you concerned? You okay? A little worried for everybody?
It's if it's what I think it is. If it's literally if it's the heating element, it's a $40 part and a 30-minute fix.
Well, see, we had somebody come over and say that it wasn't the heating element, that something was wrong with how the plug was wired in, and Ray's like,
bullshit.
Yeah, he's like, no, because it still works and the air still comes out. It's just it's cold.
Huh.
Remind me of this when we get up there, especially this next year. We are looking to try to come up there this next year.
Okay.
I'm looking at your fucking dryer.
I'll have to tell you something. It depends when you want to come up.
Okay. So, anyway.
Dryer anymore.
Do what?
It might not be our dryer anymore.
Okay. But yeah, so I've actually replaced it on mine like 2 or 3. Now I have resurrected my washer and dryer. I can't tell you how many times. And Christy, we would like to have newer ones, but I'm just like, Christy, we don't need to spend $1,000 on a new washer and dryer when I can fix it for $40.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that, because now I'm like, my clothes they've been taking a lot longer to dry. So now I'm like, is that what's wrong with my dryer?
It could be that the heating element is good. Like literally, it will just because all it is it's a coil of metal, multiple coils of metal that just heat up, and if it snaps, then all it takes is one little snap and the whole thing's gone. But like it's a $40 fix and a 30-minute replacement. So and I've done it 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah, appliance dude said he made it sound way more complicated, but it's been 3 years and I'm fine with it. I mean, it bugs everybody else, but
well, if you're fine with it, then it's cool. So, I can't think of anything else right offhand. I guarantee you there's stuff that I'm doing around the house that just I'm like, yeah, it would. Like, okay, so I have a Roomba. I probably don't use it as much as I should. Like I keep. Sometimes it's like, do I want to? Because the other thing is with the Roomba, I have to set up a few things. Like I have to set up a couple of these little lasers to keep it from going certain places, and I have to pick up a couple of cables or whatever to make sure it doesn't run over them. And it's like, is it easier for me to do this and then let the Roomba run over everything, or do I just get a fucking either a broom and a dustpan, or even just go get the little stick vac and just do it my damn self? And yeah, it's I've also run into some issues with it because right now I have to make sure when I run the Roomba, either I have to be home when it's happening, or I have to make sure my old cat and my dog are outside, because then you run into issues. So,
well, my therapist said she came in one day and her Roomba wasn't running in her office, and then she looked up and it had died because it got caught on the blinds, the cord, and it had sucked its way up and just died there over the weekend. And she was like, I had to buy a new one because it was just completely tangled. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound fun. I'd rather just run the vacuum a few minutes and then be done with it. But
Yeah.
Run
It's not bad for like because we now have the vinyl flooring. It works great on that. And like I said, running it a couple of times a week definitely makes a big difference with cleaning at the end of the month or at the end of the week. Um, but yeah, there's sometimes I'm just like I really should be running this more often than not. And a lot of times it's just like, nah, whatever. I'll just get a broom and sweep up this one little thing. We'll deal with the rest of it later. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is our topic for the week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and move on to our picks and pans. Would anyone like to go first?
I'll go.
All right. What you got for us?
So I have a bunch of picks. I only have one more episode left to watch of The Crown, season 3.
Okay.
I absolutely love the royal family. It's super duper fascinating. And then Explained, which is a docuseries on Netflix, is season 2's out. So some good ones on that one is they have one on meat, on billionaires, and one on animal intelligence and how we as humans are sort of trying to figure out like what makes an animal intelligent. Well, the only thing we have to go on is our own intelligence. So we're comparing ourselves to other animals and how accurate or how realistic is doing that, right? Just because we think we're smart doesn't mean that whatever animal isn't smart, just because it's not smart the same way a human is smart. So that one was interesting. We got Disney Plus, so we've been watching a lot of Simpsons. A lot of Simpsons. There's so many seasons.
Yes.
So many Simpsons.
So much. And then
She's starting to dream, like in her dreams, people are Simpsons.
oh, there's a lot of sarcasm coming at you sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And now Quinn's old enough, because we haven't watched it for a few years. He's old enough now that he's starting to get the jokes that when he was younger just went right over his head. So he thinks it's hilarious now. And then right before we got on Patriot Act, which is also a series on Netflix. It's kind of like John Oliver, only way more condensed. And it's an American dude, not a British dude. Anyways, his newest episode was about fast fashion, which was really interesting. So I made Logan sit down and watch it. And I even paused it when she went to the bathroom so she didn't miss anything. And I did it on her phone.
We're going to do an episode on fast fashion on Sustainably Geeky in early 2020.
There you go.
Quick plug.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was it.
Who was this by? Or what was the name of it?
Oh, Patriot Act.
Patriot Act.
Yes, it's Hassan. I can't remember his last name, but it's only like 20 minutes. It's really condensed and really quick. So, but it's a lot like John Oliver, where the research team just looks at the facts. It's not leaning one way or the other. So it's just totally, completely fact-based. And yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah. He's a bit much. Sometimes like he can be like really excitable and he swears a whole lot. So, and he has a live audience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jennifer, do you have a pick or pan for us?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about this before you said that. So I guess, I haven't been on the show in a while, but I went to Nashville a few weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. My first time there, got to like experience the city and the music and the food and art. So that was great. And I'm also just like super proud of myself that I got my Christmas shit pulled in early this year. Now it's still sitting there in all the boxes, but I got it in the house with the intention of getting my tree put up like before or around Thanksgiving, because I always end up doing it much later than I'm supposed to. So it's, just adulting things like that.
Gotcha.
are nice. Yeah.
Good deal. I've got a couple of things. Actually, 3 things now that I think about it. The Mandalorian, talking about Disney Plus. Oh my God, it is so good. There's several things. Won't go into a lot of it. I'm sure everyone has seen the Baby Yoda memes at this point. I cannot believe it's taken. I mean, granted, like when I was telling Lainey this yesterday, she goes, "It's only been on for a couple weeks." I'm like, no, they should have heckin' had Baby Yoda shit out in the stores like the day after it premiered. Like people on Etsy have been like losing sleep trying to beat the rush, and I'm sure they're still getting stuff out there as quickly as they can. But like, yeah, Baby Yoda for the win. my wife and I have been going back through Parks and Rec. That series, that sitcom is pretty much solid start to finish. It's fantastic. I can't give it enough praise. And then on Netflix also is the what was it called? The Dragon Prince season 3, and it's from the people who originally did Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra. They also worked on the Voltron series. It's fantastic. It's got a great story. It's very family friendly. One of the other things that I really like about it is it's very unapologetic about different lifestyles and stuff. So like the king and queen are a mixed race couple. One of the lands was ruled by a pair of lesbians, and it's just like no one bats an eye. It's just like, nope, this is the world it is, and that's how it is. One of the biggest badasses in the show is a woman, and she's deaf, and like so she'll go kick a bunch of ass and come back, and then she has to find her interpreter so she can talk to her troops. Like it's just, it's great, and it's a cartoon, and it's just like I'm like I want my boys to start watching it. We've got a bunch of other stuff we're going through right now, but it's just like, yeah, this is how I want it. This is how I want everything portrayed. That just, all right, well, yeah, this is how it is. Cool, deal with it. So, but yeah, it's a really good show. Really good show. Well, that is it for our show for the week, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Music. You can find us on a couple of the other podcasting apps out there. You can also check us out for right now on YouTube. We have not been doing the show live. Everyone is talking about what's going on with YouTube right now, whereas to what's going to happen January 1st, 2020, as to the whole thing going on with COPA. We're going to have some discussions. We're going to look at it. I'm not going to pull the trigger on anything yet, but within this next month, there may be some hard decisions made. And if we think some of our stuff might by chance fall under some of the stuff, and if Google doesn't make it a more clear-cut way to denote whether or not something is for children, even if you say it's not for children, but there's still the chance that you could get dinged on it. If they don't fix that in the next month, we may not be on YouTube anymore. We'll see. And unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people that are going to be jumping ship. So you can also check out our other shows, the Marginally Geeky Show. We're hopefully going to be recording here pretty quick. We're doing the book we're doing is Felicia Day's new book, which was really good. That should be an interesting topic. We had a Sustainably Geeky come out a week or so ago. And so I'm sure, have y'all recorded the next one yet, or?
No, not yet. No, the last one was about hydroponics, and the one we'll be recording for December is going to be with Chad Progracki, who founded the Living Lands and Waters Project and did a lot of the cleanup on the Mississippi River, which is going to be really cool.
Oh, cool. And then our new show, Procrastinators. Ray's had to work quite a bit here, so we were hoping to get a new episode out here pretty quick, but we're kind of waiting to see his schedule settle down a little bit. Yes. Once again, the thing about all of the shows that we do is this is a way to get together with friends and talk about stuff we're interested in. So, I mean, yeah, we'd like to keep to a strict, release, schedule, but stuff happens, and when we can get together with our friends and talk, that's when we'll do it. So hopefully we'll have something come out here in the next couple weeks. So where can we find you online, Jennifer?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Het's Gonna Be Me. Of course, here on Epically Geeky and Marginally Geeky, and then Sustainably Geeky.
Chris, where can we find you?
You can find me here. You can find me on Marginally Geeky and Sustainably Geeky. And since deleting my Instagram accounts, you used to be able to look at Instagram without having an account, and you can't do that anymore. They shut you down after looking at more than one post. So I might just get an account and not post anything, and just so I can.
Did you delete your account again?
I did, yeah. It was like a month ago, but I missed Instagram. I thought I wouldn't miss it, but I I like looking at pictures and other people's point of view and not being able, like, you can look, but it's like a teaser. It's like, okay, well, you've looked at 2 pictures. Guess what? Now you can't anymore. You have to
Gotta join.
You have to join.
Yep.
So I might
I'll
just
be honest, of the three big social networks, I mean, I know there are a lot of other ones, but those are kind of the 3 big ones.
Yeah.
It's my favorite because
Yeah.
you tend to get, at least for me, I tend to get less anything political, anything like that. Most of the stuff that I'm seeing is, like, I follow a woman in Canada that, like, she fosters kittens. And I get a dose of cute kittens and stuff. And then I follow a bunch of cosplayers, and they're constantly showing, hey, this is where I've come along with my armor. Or and then the other people I follow is just funny things during the day. It tends to be more positive than the other 2.
You can make it very positive. Like, when I had my Instagram account, I was following a lot of zero waste accounts and stuff, and I just found that I was just looking at the same thing over and over and over again. And there was one that she was very negative, and I understand she was speaking her truth, and she was trying to bring issues to light and just tell you how she felt. But it was like, oh God, like does everything suck? Everybody sucks and everybody's a jerk and everybody's out to, okay, I'm sorry, I can't follow you anymore.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, because you can really curate what you see too.
Yes.
So, and I'm fine if people just want to post nothing but happy pictures of their life. That's nice. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So, and you can find me at Optimus Shane on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then, of course, the site's Epically Geeky on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And like I said, for right now, YouTube, but we'll see how that goes. So for everyone on the site, have a good night.